And I'm here with Sean. How's it going, Sean?
It's good. How are you?
Good. Here for our weekly trading analysis. The one and only. I'm excited. So, you've published quite a few things on Twitter this week. If you aren't already, make sure to check out Opti Token on Twitter for all the latest trade analysis. Sean's on top of that. And it seems like Bitcoin continues being in the 3,400 area. Hasn't really gone up. It's tested a little higher. But what are your feelings this week? Where are we?
Um, I like some things that are happening, actually, um, and and it's odd to say like that. I like something when the price is it's down from where it started this week at. It's down from where it ended last week at. Um, so yeah, I mean it might seem odd to say that, but the reason that I'm optimistic right now is because um, the attempt to move lower seems weak. The volume isn't very interesting. It's not above average. It's, if anything, just average. Um, yeah, it's average volume. Let me share a screen.
Yeah, let's do
I'll
that.
get right into it.
I love how you always have like weird background music. Today's techno
I
to
am
help you.
I'm at yeah, you know how workspaces are.
Yeah,
But
I don't
there's
know.
like
I'm also at a
impossible to
workspace, but I go to the
can you see
phone
my screen?
booth. Yeah,
Why isn't this so big?
yes, hold on. Let me share your screen. Yeah, we see your screen. We're all set.
Really?
Yeah.
Because your thing is still in the way. Maybe that's just because I need to
Yeah, maybe you
smaller.
need to just make it smaller.
There you
Yeah.
go.
There we go.
Um, yeah, I was getting ready to say when you started video recording though, I had to move because all the call booths are always taken. People act at their office.
Yeah.
But then there's this douchey guy doing some like weird shady sales call or something,
Oh
and,
gosh,
and
that's
he was like
hilarious.
trying to talk way louder than do you know that? And people
Yeah,
try to talk like really loud, and it's like, dude, we don't care, man. Like,
I know. I hate
we
when
don't.
that
No one cares.
happens.
Okay.
Well, that's why like there's
Especially about sales. It's the worst. Ugh. I hate sales.
yeah, well
Okay.
me at the co-working space I'm at, there's only one phone booth, so I just like went straight to it. And then there's this
Mm.
lovely sign saying, "Please limit all your calls to 1 hour."
Mhm.
So, we're under the clock today, Sean.
Okay. So I'm looking at the weekly chart on Bitstamp, and some good things. A lot of people aren't really like recognizing this right away. That we had major support, and there was a big sell-off like Monday, and there was not. I wouldn't even call it a sell-off. I think it was primarily just a few people who kind of dumped
Okay.
larger holdings of Bitcoin. That's kind of the biggest sellers right now. I feel like that's kind of what the moves are. The exception, as far as like for the past maybe month or so, month and a half, at least. Ever since around here, there hasn't been any. This is yeah. This right here, this big volume candle, this big move, that's panic selling. But it was probably started by like one person dumping right
A
here
well
because we look
dumping?
at the volume.
Would it be
Sorry
a
about
well?
these. I need to move these.
You said that the dumping, it said it was a large volume. Was it from a well or
It's not large volume. That's why
no?
we can say that it is that. Large volume, when there's a lot big sell, when there's a lot of downside in large volume, that's the masses. That's people selling. That's like sentiment. When it's smaller volume and in a move like that, that's more like one person or just a smaller number of people causing that to happen. So as you can see, the dump below, and this was back when we went below 6,000, and that 6,000 became pretty emotional, because it held for so long and had been tested a few times, and so even let's see, the close was at 55.59, and kind of it looks the low. Oh shoot, the low that week was already 51.99. So yeah, I mean that could have done two things there. It could have been like, hey, we're gonna hold 5,000 now, but what it more looked like was that people are like, you know what, like I'm scared. It seems like there's more downside left, and everybody, the sentiment became very bearish, and we see this big volume bar here, and that week just sucked. That was just a shitty week. So yeah, so then as we progressed, we ended up finding some support. We tried to recover here, and it didn't look too bad with the candles, but at the same time, for one reason or another, more selling came in. I don't know. This volume isn't super indicative. It's kind of this bar could kind of mean that it could have started off with someone else, like if I want to move a price of an altcoin or any coin lower, okay, let's say, then I'm going to sell in waves, right? I'm going to move it higher. I'm probably going to buy in waves. I need to kind of let people, think it's a bottom, come in again, and then move it again. So that that's just a story that charts tell. So this one is not super indicative, but what happened here was we bounced off the 200-week moving average. And this was widely talked about because it was pretty blatant. And we had a nice, this bottom part wick is pretty nice. However, the next day, this is probably somebody again trying to break. It might not be someone who hates Bitcoin. It might just be somebody who has, they may have a lot of leverage positions open and then used non-leverage positions to try to move the market in their favor. Because if you have massive amounts of Bitcoin and then, you use something like BitMEX, or I'd probably say BitMEX because you can get like the 10x leverage, 25, and even, I highly doubt any serious traders are using really more than 10x unless it's just for fun, kind of. But I don't think someone would use that in this scenario, especially with a large amount of Bitcoin behind it. So, they could use 10x or something, or they could play the futures, and they could.
Sean, we lost you.
What it looks like right here is. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay. Sorry. So yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like this started by some asshole, okay, and it was just continued on by the masses. They got what they wanted. This is exactly right here is exactly the goal of this, okay. So this was probably extremely profitable for
I have a
several.
conspiracy theory. It's Roger Ver. He's trying to get everybody to switch to Bitcoin Cash.
Well, the problem is I don't know if he has. I mean, he had dudes got a load of money, but I don't know if he has that much. But if he got a bunch of people together, I mean, sure. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. But I the worst. I think the darkest way to think about it is if it is really governments or banks.
Yeah.
I don't know how banks. I don't work at a bank. I'm not some kind of I know nothing about how upper management works at a bank, and if that would, my gut tells me they wouldn't. That's kind of not in their. That's not in their planning. Is to So I think if anything, they do have to hold Bitcoin as a hedge. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they're gonna. I don't think there was some scheme to try to dump the price now. It seems more amateurish actually. So, so yeah, we had some attempts to kind of break the 200 week moving average, and it held. And all of this is within margin of error. According to my thinking, which I don't know if it means, I'm not saying it means the world. It's just that what, from my experience, and I've talked about it probably every week on your show, is that moving averages are like it's a very, they're very like thick line. Maybe I should say. It's not a thin line. It's a very thick line, and getting close enough to one or moving a little past one can still be. You can still consider it, support or resistance, depending on if you're moving down or moving up. So, some people think you have to hit it perfectly or something, which is just silly. That doesn't happen. I mean, you can see that moving averages are extremely relevant, and you don't always have to just, hit them exactly. So, something interesting we have here happening, actually, I'm just looking at, is I'll talk about that in a minute. But let's go back to Monday. This is the current week. And Monday we had a large sell-off. And what happened was it didn't go down. It was 33.22. So it didn't. I think if it had hit that 3,200 level in there, the people's brains would have been like, "Hey, I remember this. This is that 200 moving average." But since averages change and it's still on an upward trajectory as long as it's above it. A lot of people didn't really mention that the 200-week moving average for the time being holding it for us. Now the week's not over, but for the time being, it's holding for us. And we didn't have a beautiful bounce off it, but we had a little bit of, a wick that we like to see. That's always good.
Can we look at what happened this week, Dan?
Yeah, this is this week.
I got it.
We want to look on a chart, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think this is a great sign. I really like this. It would have been nice to see more of a recovery, like more of a wick, more of a doji perhaps. But the week's not over, so we don't know how this is going to end. And I do think that. For now, I'm like 60% against 40% that this will just hold again. So I don't see any major red flags to say, and mostly I say that because of the volume that we're going to go below that right now. So in my opinion, based on how we're what the title of the video is I was a buyer a little bit like I'm not buying right now, but I bought some on this dip, and I also bought some Ethereum, and so yeah, I'm a buyer right here. But what I want to look for is if we close below this. We've gone below. We could go below again. We also have another helpful support moving average very close, which will offer a lot of support as well. Like I mentioned in one of our first videos, like this 3,000 level has so much support that it's not something that we're not just gonna rush through it. The price isn't just gonna crash through it. And like I've said, and continue to say, I think that the 3,000 is gonna be the bottom of 2019. That's my personal opinion.
That's
my personal opinion.
You're saying we might go as low as 3,000. 3,000.
No, I'm not saying 30 went to where it's probably going to be low.
30. Sorry.
So that.
How much did you say?
I believe this candle right here. I believe is going to be the low of 2019.
Got it.
But if we do go under, I don't think we're going to go under very much. I think there's a lot of money that comes in the 2000s. It just is what it is. People start because big buyers, they get nervous about hey, what if I get too greedy and I wait too long to start buying, and then like my competitors or other buyers are coming in now. So yeah, you want to get the lowest price, but also you don't want to get greedy. So that's a powerful factor. So when that means big buyers soon are going to start coming in.
Bullish. I was going to ask
people bullish on Bitcoin.
I was going to ask you. I mean, logically, you could set up an alert once it reaches the 3,000 so you can start buying. But you're saying that you have to be careful because if you get greedy like that, other people are going to jump in and it's going to drive the price up, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to go as low as you'd want it to go. I wouldn't set an alert to buy at 3,000 at this point. So something we do also want to monitor is the RSI. That's something that's, I think, helpful right now. And one thing about it is the RSI is, let's see here, where are you? I think it's, it's
What's going
pretty
on?
low in the month.
What's going on?
The RSI, I mean, it's pretty low, but traditionally, it's held like traditionally. I mean, people have been so bullish on Bitcoin that this kind of level has acted as like oversold. People feel that it's oversold around here, but it is technically, I believe, at its all-time low. I can't see. So it is technically its all-time low. However, it is the month ends today. So after today, we have a new month, and it would be nice to see it close at 44, which is where it closed. It closed at 44.65 in December, 45 in November, and January close tomorrow. I'd like to see it come up a little bit. That'd be nice to see it close at 44. And at work, it doesn't super duper worry me, but
Can you repeat what you just said? The internet just went out.
Oh, I'm sorry. So here, this purple line, this purple area, this is a relative strength index I'm using on a month chart. And if you look at the purple lettering, that'll show you. So each time I move here, so here's April, March, February, January, etc. So every like accounting number on it is going to be a different month. So right here, that purple number is reflecting its previous all-time low, which is 44.5, and then it kind of retested that. Oh, okay, actually, retested that again over here, kind of, and moved up. Now, in November, when things started to get really bearish, it went all the way down to 45, and since then, it's continued to creep lower, but very subtly. It's kind of we're testing new waters of the RSI, but I don't know if we've sunk low enough to cause panic, really. This is the 50-month moving average, and right now it sits at 3,028. So if we did fall through that weak one I talked about, then I think that the next support line is this, and I personally think it'll hold, but I do think there's a chance we could drop below it, on some momentum. But I'm going to become a buyer again if we go into like the high 2000s, or I don't think we're going to go to the mid 2000s. That's my personal opinion. So, it's very popular to say that, and I just don't think that's going to happen. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised if we just hold here, actually, because I like what.
Yeah, and it seems like this week could be a good week to start buying then, overall.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing. So, it's always risky to buy, because if you look at these candles, these are bearish. So, okay, like there's nothing saying really like we had, these like attempts at dojis, but like we have a big top of the candle here, and that's not good. This candle is very indecisive, and then after that came, it's like which way we're going to go, and then after that we came to the downside. So there's nothing bullish about these charts. The only thing that's like a good thing is that it looks like this, it's like we can say now this 200-week moving average still looks relevant. Okay. So our hope is that we get one of these like next week. Okay. One of these would be very nice, a nice bullish week, and we could very well get it. So the idea though is, okay, if you want to buy as cheap as possible, then this isn't a bad bet to do so here. The thing is, you have to know the risk you're getting yourself into. That we could, in fact, I could be wrong. We could go down to like 2,000 and all this nasty stuff. We could sink lower. So you have to ask yourself, am I okay with this price either way? Or, am I going to be mad if I buy now and it goes lower? Do I want to risk it not going lower and I miss on this bottom? These are the questions we have to ask ourselves right here. So for me, I like the idea of kind of entering with, and maybe even give it a few days and kind of see how this candle develops. See if this 200-week moving average really is going to be supportive. We don't want to close under it. Sunday we don't want to be down like under. We don't want to really be like in the 3,200s, 3,100s come Sunday. And if we are, the higher up the better. We don't want to dip too low in that territory. So yeah. And so, but one strategy would be to kind of, buy at this level and then see if that happens and then, have a stop loss maybe like around here, like around, maybe like under 3,200, under the previous, a good idea maybe would be under the previous low, which would be 3,122. That is definitely a strategy to take. Now, it's not perfect and it's still very risky. Because as I mentioned also, the 50-month moving average is right below, so we could go down in like to around $3,030, and then totally hold there, and you had already left out your position at a loss. But the thing is so yeah, we have some downside, but the upside is pretty big. We have a very good chance to recover soon or at some point up toward around like this moving average or the quickly moving 20-week. I could definitely see that happening. You see this gray line right here?
Yeah.
That's the 20-week moving average. And it's crossing under the, that would be the 120, what is it, the 128 week. Here. So typically when you have moving averages crossing one another, it's if it's going up, it's bullish. If it's going under one, it's bearish. But that being said, the 20-week is like it's going to be. We'd rather see the 20-week crossing under than a bigger one. Like we don't want to see if we saw the 50-week crossover this one,
then
cross back under.
That would be bearish.
It's a lot more bearish than the 20-week.
Got it.
Right? So, yeah, each bigger, increment we use is going to supersede the one before it. Absolutely, 100%. So this is the only, this is something I see that's a little bearish, but I wouldn't place too much, it's not telling enough, really, by itself that it's, here comes another bear, push down. And also, we could end this week, and this line could actually kind of adjust, and it could kind of bounce off it. So that's something that moving averages do as well. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm not overly concerned about this crossover right here. I'm just not. I don't know why, but I'm just not. As you can see, here the 20 moved over the 50-week, and long-term picture, it was kind of bearish. But I don't know if one was causing the other, so to speak, I think it's just kind of a signal that it's like, the market's shitty right now. So that's why, I could easily, and when this didn't mean that this still didn't come back up, right? You see this move right here? Yeah. So I could easily seeing us finally getting back in like retesting this 128 week moving average, or if the 20 week is kind of around maybe here by the time we, it's kind of moving in this. I can see it retesting around here. So I do see upside again. And I actually I see more upside than downside, and that's something I'm always looking for. That's almost everything I'm looking for always. Is reward and risk. What's my risk to how much am I risking to lose? Where's my stop loss at? Where do I need to put it at? And here we know that's probably a little bit under the 50-month moving average. A little under 3,000 perhaps. Even then I don't like it because we're so close to what I feel is the bottom. But my upside, either way, my upside is more than my downside. And so that, for me, and especially being close to this, still being close to that support level, where if we fall under it, we can kind of get scared and panic and have our stop losses and exit, re-strategize. I'm only losing, maybe a few $100s per each Bitcoin. So yeah, that's like a game plan and a half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is what's happening with Bitcoin right now.
Well, perfect.
I don't know who else is saying anything different, but that's what's happening.
Yeah. I think overall, what I'm hearing is that it's going to take anywhere between 3 to 4 years, apparently, to reach some of the levels we saw in 2017. Would you agree?
Well, I have a long outlook either way.
Yeah.
I've had a long outlook. I understand that with investing that, you don't just get in and get rich overnight. Typically, if you timed it right in 2017, you got lucky. But for the most part, people had to wait since around 2014. People who came, the people who are, in my opinion, it's not unfair to compare the people who came into crypto in 2018 to people who came in 2014.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So they came in after a big run up, and mostly they saw losses. So and if they stuck around, they were paid off.
Right, and I think
that's kind of the same story.
That's exactly what's happening right now. A lot of retail buyers went in 2017 when there was opportunity, especially because the media played such a huge part in it, and probably similar to 2014. You're absolutely right. And what's happening is that a lot of people lost their money. I mean, that's the other thing we have to deal with, the fact that a lot of people feel like Bitcoin's a scam and they just don't understand their vision. And so some people will hold. A lot of us are holding, and if we're brave enough, it might take 4 or 5 years. We'll see what the outcome is.
Yeah.
So any other?
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's it's a transfer of value at the very least.
Yeah.
It's probably easy to say that store of value is scamming now because if you're using it as a storage of value, you're losing value on a short-term outlook.
Right.
But it still works almost, the exact same and actually easier than just say PayPal if I need to make an international payment.
Yeah.
So that's an argument that that alone gives it very much value.
Absolutely, I'm all for it.
So yeah.
Yay! Thank you, Sean.
To wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you, Sean, for taking the time to speak to us today and share all these insights. Make sure, if you haven't already, to check out OptiToken on Twitter. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure to give it a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe. Help us get discovered, because this is actually really good content. And we want to make sure that everyone has access to it. See you, Sean. Yay.
Bye, Lena. Thank you.